Hello every pony and everybody. Welcome back. Chapter 19. Darkness of the Factory. Written by Foxgear, read by Icy Night. Applejack and Rawhide were in the thick of it when Overheat came crashing down from the sky like a meteor, taking out a dozen orcs with just his landing alone. The six-legged fire stallion quickly went to work on the enemy forces, reducing a good chunk to ashes in seconds. Honestly, the display left Applejack feeling a little outclassed. At least Rawhide's tunnel had worked out, and their fellow soldiers could cross the battlefield in minimal safety. "Save some for us, will ya?" Applejack hollered over the noise as Overheat bucked the stone cyclops in two. The thing still had life in it as it tried to charge its magic beam. Try being the key word, since she smashed her hoof through the thing's eye before it could get a shot off. "Take what you can, 'cause I always lick my plate clean," Overheat said, with his usual cocky grin. At least AJ assumed he was grinning. It was hard to tell when he turned into a flaming skeleton. Whatever, he was just doing. Didn't really matter to her. She was just glad he was here. Having any of the monster ponies around in a fight made every easier. Fight a monster with another monster, as they say. It was about as good as having one of the princesses with you. They didn't seem to do anything the night hunters couldn't take down. A pony tapped her shoulder. Applejack turned to see it was Rawhide, and he didn't look very happy despite their supposed victory. She looked around and saw the field was almost cleared. So what was making him so sour? Then she felt it. It was coming from the shadows of the entrance of the factory. A chill ran down her spine, like when she met Sombra back in the Crystal Empire. Vaguely she noticed the waves of monsters coming from the factory had stopped, filling the air with an eerie silence. "Every pony, get ready for anything!" Applejack yelled, charging her hoof cannon. Every pony followed her lead, feeling the same mounting dread she did. They could take aim for the entrance, the fear building as the kunk of sound hooves stomped towards them. From the shadows emerged a gleaming hoof, followed by a long horn, shrouded in orange magic. She gave the command before the creature could fully come into view. "Fire!" At least 50 blasts hit the entrance. Of those that actually hit their shadowy target was uncertain, but they definitely caused some damage. There was crater for crying out loud. The Applejack couldn't shake the fear off her skin. "Recharge and fire another volley," she ordered, taking aim again, only for Overheat to move in front of her. "What are you doing? You're in the way." Overheat shook his head. "No, you're in my way. Get out of here, all of you. This opponent is something else. Something you can't handle. You can't just leave you here alone with that thing, whatever it is," Applejack protested. Overheat eyed the thing in the smoke wearily. It was being awfully patient, or perhaps it was toying with them. He didn't know or care to find out, with every pony standing around and not doing what he told them to do. You and Rawhide might be of some help, but the others will just be cannon thunder. Get them out, and then you can come and help me. Now go! Roaring up, Overheat bellowed a steam of scorching fire at the McKellick pony, which fired a blast of orange magic to counter his attack. The two attacks met and sent fire flying everywhere. At least it got them moving. Overheat side-trotted as the thing charged him, smashing the ground where he once stood. Rearing back, he struck the metal beast flank with his forefront hooves, each strike creating a shower of sparks. Overall, though, it seemed ineffective, so he limped back to grin to gain some distance and re-examine his enemy. The thing was tall, if not a little taller than him, with a long horn, about as long as Celestia's, and wings perhaps. Then there was the thing's metal skin. He didn't know what kind of metal it was, but it was darn hard. His horseshoes didn't even make a dent, which meant melting it would be the best option. Well then, come on and get me, he taunted, earning the thing's attention. He changed its horn as he rushed, galloping at full speed. An attack from the ruined factory entrance sent him stumbling through. A red blast of magic caught his right front shoulder. Trotting on 5 legs, Overheat veered left, avoiding several more blasts from both attackers. Ducking behind some broken stone cyclops, he took a moment to catch his breath as the second metal pony joined the first. Okay, I could really use Applejack and Rawhide now. These ponies are something else. Debating on what to do, the two metal ponies started blasting his position, breaking chunks of stone cyclops away with each blast. It wouldn't be long before his cover was dust to the wind. As Overheat was about to make a break for it when the firing stopped, followed by a loud clang. Peering over his defenses, he was glad to see Rawhide and Applejack in the fray. Both Earth ponies were going to town on the metal ponies with all their might. Applejack with her 4 glowing hooves, and Rawhide with his glowing pickaxe. When did he learn to do that? Together they were pushing the two metal ponies back, their sudden rush catching the two pony beasts off guard. Spurred on by their display of might, Overheat rushed from his covered position of flame, taking his skeletal form. With a mighty leap, he took to the air and fell like a meteor on the red metal pony, burying the thing into the earth. The orange pony charged up an attack, but Rawhide struck his pickaxe into the thing's eye socket, causing its shot to veer off in a distant direction. Think that did it? Applejack asked as they regrouped at the factory entrance. The two metal ponies got back up almost instantly, looking none the worse for wear. I think that would be a resounding no. Time for a change in tactics. Overheat tapped his gem communicator. This is Night Hunter Overheat, requesting AT1. Time to test out that new toy gadget. Roger that. AT1 will deploy in 5 minutes. Why is it always 5 minutes? Overheat grumbled under his breath, preparing for the next round. He just hoped they could last that long. Let's go, let's go, let's go! Get this thing moving! A pony yelled as he climbed on top of the AT-1. His name was Hauser, an earth pony from the backwoods of Equestria, the AT-1's test pilot. He studied Gadget's manual thoroughly in preparation for this day. All he needed now was his crew to arrive, and they could deploy. Opening the hatch, Hauser vaguely noticed the tank began to rumble as it came to life. He brushed it off, thinking some pony got here ahead of him. When he got inside, he was in for a big surprise. There in the driver's seat was Nightingale, who by his memory should be at the castle recovering. Next to her reading the tank's operation manual was a very nervous looking Dusk, who should also be at the castle. That starts the engine, and that's the gun, and this is the throttle to go forward. I think I got it, Nightingale grinned, revering the throttle. Now let's stretch this thing's wings or tracks, whatever. Let's rock. Wait, I want to. Dusk screamed as Nightingale gunned the gas, propelling the tank forward to the edge of the lower flight deck, which was still airborne, by the way. Hauser felt his body leave the floor of the tank as they drove off the ramp, free falling to the ground at high speeds. Hit the parachute for Luna's sake, he screamed as he moved through the cramped cockpit and mashed the release button. There was a soft whoosh as the chute was deployed, followed by a soft jerk as the tank descended, slowed. What in Luna's name are you two doing in here? Hauser demanded as he tried to regain control of his tank. The Nightingale pushed him away, keeping him from the driver's seat. He growled under his breath, and they touched down on the ground. Eagerly, Nightingale drove them ahead, leaving him little choice but to main the main gun. Well, the plan was for me to join the battle, and for little Dusk here to meet up with Gadget, but we both overslept a lot. We woke a little bit before the battle, but Dusk was too scared to get out and face her father. Understandable, really. So she started reading the manual to calm down, and I was learning how this thing works, Nightingale explained excitedly as they neared the battlefield. Now, you going to work with us or keep whining like a foal? Hauser scuffed. Fine, but don't be crying to me when Gadget chews your ears off. Looking through the telescope, Hauser spotted their targets. Dusk, I need you to load the cannon while I aim and fire. Nightingale, you will drive. Try to keep us steady, but don't let us get hit too often. This thing can take a hit, but she's not unstoppable. Alright, let's do this, Nightingale cheered, pushing the throttle to max speed. Peering through the scope, Hauser lined up his shot on the metal menaces and attacking their comrades. Get out of the way, he barked. Get out of the way, he barked over the comms. Overheat, Applejack, and Rawhide quickly retreated from the two beasts, giving him a clear, clean shot as the two. The sound of the cannon's breech closing signaled that he was locked and loaded and ready to fire. Unlike the ship's cannons and the hoof cannons, the AT-1 fired physical gem-tipped projectiles, much like the air unit's missiles. While they only had limited ammo, each shot packed a lot more punch. With the raise of his hoof, Hauser stumped on the trigger, firing the round. The round screamed out of the barrel, rocketing through the air at subsonic speeds. Through his scope, he tracked the shaft. The round impacted behind his target, cleaving them with chunks of earth. He cursed and adjusted his aim as Dusk loaded another shell. "Incoming attack! Move left 40 degrees! Nightingale bit her lip as she maneuvered the tank. The sound of two magical blasts impacting behind them made her nearly draw blood. It was unnerving driving when she couldn't see what was happening. Hauser was the only one of them that could actually see clearly in this metal contraption. Everything relied on his guidance. "Straighten out. Don't let them get a lock on our side or they might track us. And then we'll be in real trouble." "Roger that," Nightingale yelled, turning the tank. Hauser turned the turret slightly to get a bead on the enemy's flanks. They didn't seem too concerned as they moved their heads for another attack, keeping the broadside of their bodies in the crosshairs. He was about to show them how concerned they should be as he fired another shot. He fired again. This time he was right on target and caught the orange one in the side and sent it flying from the impact, right into the side of the factory. The red one turned away, rushing to the aid of the other. "Can I get a confirmation on the target? Have we caused damage?" Hauser radioed. The dusk from the impact had him completely blind. "Target hit, but no way to confirm any damage." "And wow, that's a big hole," Applejack reported over the comms. "Whoa. Oh boy. He doesn't look too happy." "Applejack, please come in, Applejack." A little busy." Looking through the scope, Hauser saw the three were engaging the red metal pony again, giving him no clear shot. He moved to the hole made in the side of the factory and zoomed in, finding no trace of the orange metal pony. Still, he wanted to be sure. "Load the blue-tipped round." "Here are Dusk. We're going to put that metal monster on ice." "Blue round loaded," Hauser fired into the hole. A moment later, the hole was completely sealed in ice. "Drive us closer and position us beside those rocks there, Nightingale. We'll hold our position there and provide artillery fire on demand." "Did you get all that, Applejack?" "Roger that. We'll get you your shot. Give us a moment to wrangle this guy down. He's getting awfully feisty." "Sounds like he's quite the opponent." Nightingale chuckled as she positioned them by the rocks. "Wish I could be out there right now. Maybe I could go join them." Hauser glared at her. "We need a minimum of 3 ponies to run this thing. You're not going anywhere. Now cut the chatter and be ready to move on my command." "Aye, aye, Captain." Nightingale saluted with a cheeky grin, causing Hauser to grumble under his breath as he watched the battle through his scope. Since they were kind of stuck for the moment, Nightingale took a second to glance towards Dusk to see how the aged-up filly was holding up. Overall, she seemed fine, minus the trembling, the heavy breathing, Okay, maybe she wasn't doing so great. "Hey, you okay?" Nightingale whispered, placing a comfortable hoof on Dusk's shoulder. The black-eyed filly looked At her eyes swelling with held back tears, making Nightingale feel terrible for dragging her along on her little adventure. She probably should have pushed the younger man out of the tank on her for her own sake, if nothing else, but she didn't. That was a real lapse in judgment in hindsight. Of course, it's hard to remember how young Dusk actually is when she looks no younger than Nightingale herself. Dusk nodded and tried to smile, but wasn't a real convincing one. Nightingale patted her shoulder and offered her best smile. "Don't worry. You'll make it through this, I swear. I'll make sure you do," Nightingale promised, though she hoped it was one she could keep. "Look alive. Time for some action," Hauser said, firing a shot. Nightingale and Dusk quickly got back to work as Hauser barked his orders. "Fire!" Applejack yelled over the comms as she ducked behind some rubble as the whistling sound of the gem shell flew over her head and slammed into the red metal pony. She quickly crawled up to peek at the damage and cursed when she saw the shimmer of the red magic encasing the metal pony in a protective dome. Roaring at the top of his lungs, Rawhide attacked the metal pony from behind, his pickaxe glowing with magic as he attacked. Remarkably, it pierced the dome, but was still too far away to do any damage. The metal pony dropped the shield and kicked Rawhide with his back hooves, sending the earth pony flying into the wall. Snorting angrily, Applejack rushed in low and swift at the metal pony's legs. Out from under him and rushed to Rawhide's side. As Overheat rushed in and stomped on the metal pony's face before it could get up. "You okay?" Applejack asked fearfully as she looked over Rawhide's body for injuries. There was a stream of blood coming from his helmet. Carefully she removed his helmet, only to regret it as more blood flowed down, covering his face. She placed pressure on the wound and reached for her comm. "This is Commander Applejack. I need a medic pony at my position ASAP. I repeat, I need a medic pony. We got a pony down." "We'll be there as soon as we can," a pony replied in the distance. She saw some movement back by their barracks. She sighed with relief. Thankfully, their mag ponies stationed so close. Now she hoped she could keep them safe as they carried Rawhide out as she looked back at the fight. Overheat was going hoof to hoof against the metal pony. Both were so close to each other, neither could really use their fancier moves or magic. So it was down to a good old brawl of brawn, which Overheat would have probably won, if not for the fact he was facing down a literal wall of metal. The Night Hunter smashed his brawler against the metal pony, trying to tackle him to the ground, but the metal pony wouldn't give and pushed back, nearly bringing Overheat down. If not for the Fire Stallion digging in with all 6 of his legs, with a grunt, Overheat pushed back, freeing his front legs, which he used to grip onto the metal pony's neck with his claws, giving him enough leverage to knock the pony over and give Overheat some breathing room as he trotted away. "What are you waiting for? Fire!" he shouted over the comms. The sound of the AT-1's cannon firing was a comforting sound as the shell hit the metal pony, sending the pony skidding across the ground, barely missing the factory wall, unlike his kin before him. "Whoa, that's the stuff!" Overheat celebrated as the mag ponies emerged from the tunnel. They quickly tended to Rawhide while Applejack fussed. He was about to join them, confident the metal monster won't be getting back up again. But as he trotted, he heard a groan from behind. He stopped and turned around. The metal pony was rising up again. However, the shell of the tank team had left a mark, but the metal monster was still alive and kicking, and really ticked off now. "You ingrates dare bring me to my knees? Dare to lay a hoof on my beloved cousin? And expect to get away unscathed? I will see you hung by your entrails for such offenses. No pony makes a fool of Ruby Redblood." Overheat scowled at the metal monster. This was one of the nobles? What happened? More importantly, what was that crazy red aura behind him? It looked like an alicorn. "Take this!" Redblood screamed madly, firing a huge blast of magic at Overheat. The Night Hunter expelled steam of fire to counter the spell, but wasn't very even matched up. He quickly found himself overwhelmed by Redblood's attack and was losing ground quickly. He summoned up all the magic he could muster and pushed back, gaining an inch for his efforts. An inch he quickly lost. "Damn it!" cursed Overheat as he tried to put more power into his attack, but alas, he was maxed out. In the background, he could hear Applejack screaming his name, probably rushing to help him, but she wouldn't make it in time. Not that she could probably do anything anyways. This pony, this metal monster of a pony, was too much for them. Applejack ran for all she was worth, but she knew she wouldn't make it in time. Regardless, she still charged up her boots with as much magic as she could muster, hoping beyond hope it could do something, anything to that metal monster. As she drew closer, Redblood's attack was about to engulf Overheat. Applejack screamed at the top of her lungs, trying to gallop even faster, but not even that would be too slow, and then a familiar voice broke over her calm, nearly causing her to trip from the surprise. "Get away from my friends!" Nightingale screamed as she rammed the AT-1 at full speed right into Redblood, smashing the metal pony right into the wall of the factory. "You crazy mare!" Hauser yelled as the tank buckled from the impact. "You're going to get us killed! Shut up and fire!" Nightingale screamed savagely as she continued to push the noble with the tank, backing off only to ram him again. "Dusk, load an armor-piercing round, the silver one," Hauser ordered. As they backed off, he fired point-blank into the noble's face. Nightingale rammed the tank forward, only to stall as the blast of magic hit them head-on. The armor plating buckled under the stress, bolts popping out of the walls and ricocheted in the cap, one bolt hitting Hauser in the chest. "Come on, Nightingale!" He gasped. "Ugh, it's just a scratch. Onwards!" Nightingale screamed, slamming the tank forward again. Redblood, unprepared for the assault, thinking he had disabled them, buckled as they pushed the metal noble right through the wall of the factory, blasting away as they drove deeper and deeper in darkness. "Nightingale! Nightingale! Do you read me? Nightingale!" Applejack frantically called over the comms for her friend, receiving only static as a response. Intensively, she walked to the hole the tank had made and peered inside, hoping to catch a glimpse of the machine or the powder of its engine. Instead, she heard an explosion. "Nightingale! Applejack, what's going on? What happened?" Gadget demanded over the comms. "Applejack, report!" Applejack steadied herself against the broken wall of the factory, taking long deep breaths to try and calm down. "Nightingale, she was driving the tank. Applejack explained what happened. "I see. I'll be right down with Princess Celestia. You stay there and wait for us. Do not go in until we get there. Do you understand?" "I do," Applejack replied. The Earth Mare bit her lip, uncertain if she should tell Gadget or not yet, but decided it was best to tell him sooner than later. "Gadget, there's something else." "What's that?" "I think I heard Dusk in the background over Nightingale's comms. I think she's inside the tank." There was silence, and then a pop of magic as Gadget appeared beside via teleportation. The graying unicorn had a mad look in his eyes, like before when he interrogated Redblood's guards. Before she could speak a word, he was running into the darkness of the factory. "Gadget, wait! You can't go alone!" "Dusk!" Gadget screamed, completely ignoring her. "Come on, Applejack, after him!" Celestia shouted, appearing beside her. The Princess of the Sun gave chase after Gadget, leaving Applejack straggling behind as she ran full bore to keep up with the two. "Wait, who's in charge of Mooncutter?" Applejack asked, coming up beside the princess. "Firefly is in charge," Celestia told her as she swung around the corner, a trail of fire as their guide. "Things may be worse than I fear. We haven't had any contact from Luna in the past half hour. I'm worried she may be in trouble as well as the assault teams." "Then let's pick up the pace then," Applejack hollered, sprinting past the princess. She ran down a darkened tunnel that led to a larger chamber. From the looks of the ruins, it was the factory's engines room. In fact, in front of her was Gadget, staring down below. She moved next to him as Celestia joined them. They all stared in horror as they stared at the burning wreckage of the AT-1 down below. "Dusk!" On the ground, as she felt her body bounce as her hooves dragged across the ground. She felt tired, like some pony had drained all the magic from her body. Opening her eyes, she saw only darkness. Being the princess of the night meant being able to see in the dark, but something was still only a vague shape. To her right now. She then realized she was being carried, and by Nico Vega of all ponies. Something that would be almost laughable given his size, if not for the serious situation they were in. "Nico, what happened?" She grasped, her throat dry. The Renin hummed, uncertain how to explain what happened. "Not really sure. You and this metal pony fell down the shaft and were fighting. I'm sorry to say it wasn't going well for you." but I'll give you props for the cool-looking aura you had up. Aura? Yeah, you had this black shroud thing hovering around you, tearing everything around it to shreds. I didn't know you could do stuff like that. Still, it didn't seem to be working. And the metal pony is Yellowblood, Luna informed. Yellowblood, huh? Who would have guessed that? Anyway, things weren't going so well, so I jumped and gave him a swipe in the eye with this thing. Nico held up his claw equipped with the weapon he stole earlier. For whatever reason, it managed to hurt him. I had hoped going for his eye would let me hit his brain or something, but there was nothing there. Still, it seemed to hurt him, and you know what killing perfection says. If you can hurt something, you can kill it. When did she say that? Go patrolling with her sometime and she'll say a lot of things like that, Nico answered, smiling. She's kind of a chatterbox when you get her alone. I find that hard to believe. Nico, look out! She gasped. She grabbed the Renin with her legs and used his wings to propel them upwards as a blast of yellow magic streamed beneath them. It seems Yellowblood had caught up to them. She turned around so they were facing their enemy, and she had to say she was impressed with Nico's new toy. The gaping hole that once Mel Pony's right eye was a glorious sight indeed, even if magic was spewing out of it like a broken faucet, giving Yellowblood a very menacing image as the magic swirled around him in frenzy. The metal noble snapped his metal jaws angrily at them as he charged. There we go. Charged another blast and fired. Luna brought them upwards again, but his second blast escaped from Yellowblood's horn and brought them back down to the earth. Luna winced as the sting from the blast could be felt through her armor. She felt the spot that had been hit and found blood on her boots. Looking down, she saw a big tear in her armor. The metal folding inward was what cut her. As Yellowblood stomped towards them, she felt Nico struggling beneath her to lift her up. She tried to get off him to at least allow him to escape. Her body froze and went stiff again. Magic exhaustion. She had magic exhaustion. Curses! She cursed as Yellowblood stood over her, hoof raised for a final strike. And so ends the mighty Princess Luna, he chuckled. Luna glared at him, refusing to close her eyes, and with what little movement she had huddled her body tighter around Nico in a vain hope to shield him from the attack. As metal hoof fell towards her, she noticed something strange and what would probably be her final moment. A pebble bouncing on the ground. Suddenly the entire room began to shake. The sound of steel groaning and stone crumbling became a constant roar. "What is that?" Yellowblood shouted, too distracted by the noise to finish his attack. The wall next to them broke, shattering in a hail of debris, as what had to be the largest earth pony Luna had ever seen in her life galloped right at Yellowblood and smashed the metal pony into the adjacent wall. "You look like you could use some backup, Princess," a voice said, a voice she was glad to hear. "Sixes!" she cried happily. The Renin smirked as he was joined by Fierce Fury and several other ponies she didn't recognize. "Allow me to introduce the new recruits." He grinned as the strange ponies gathered around her in a protective formation. The giant pony from earlier came flying backwards and smashed into a wall next to Sixes. They all glared at Yellowblood, still very much alive, stomped towards them. "Night Patrollers!" Luna rose to her feet. Unimaginable pain bombarded her senses. But she stood firm. She needed to show strength for her new soldiers. "Attack!" That was a difficult chapter to read, I am not going to lie. Then again, it doesn't help that my printer decides to make these black lines across the pages. Yeah, making it kind of hard to read and make out. But all in all, chapter 19, the writer has a good sense of the battle scene, what the soldiers are doing, how they are trained, the operating of a new machine like a tank, 3 ponies operating it, it's the minimal. A lot of thought went into this, obviously. Well done, just well done. Chapter 20 tomorrow. Please don't forget to like and comment below. I hope everyone is having a good Hanukkah. Christmas is right around the corner. December 17th is Heartswarming Day for all us heart bronies and Pegasisters. So I want to say good night, and may you all sleep at peace.